Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing out there today? This is your Uncle Steve on Uncle Steve's Lounge. It is the Monday Minutia, and you are here with us live on Monday, February the 10th. It's 6 o'clock, so y'all know what time it is. Today, we'll talk about the Super Bowl or lack of a Super Bowl if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. And talk about what is going on for 2025 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Will they dominate next year? We'll see. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the Falcons. What things do we have in store to look for as far as the Falcons going into 2025? Are there any changes that's going to make them a viable contender in the NFC? We just saw the Philadelphia Eagles win the championship. Looks like the championship is going to go through Philadelphia. I know we beat them early in the year, but there's a whole lot of stuff that's changed from that early September Monday night. And last but not least, halftime show yesterday. Kendrick Lamar. Like it? Dislike it? Don't care? Let's talk about it when y'all get back on the other side.
You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time.
Hey, what is up, y'all? Y'all doing all right? It is the end of the NFL season, and it ended pretty harshly for the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. Yeah. Philadelphia Eagles are your Super Bowl champions in the NFL. And boy, oh boy, do the fans there. I saw so much destruction. I would have thought it was a protest and not a celebration. But I mean, to each his own. I hope. Now, please bring the Super Bowl here to Atlanta. I'm just not feeling people in Atlanta tearing up the city, but I saw folks tear up their city because they won the Super Bowl, not lost, won the Super Bowl. That's amazing to me. I don't think that's passionate fans. I think that's silly fans, but to each his own. They are the champions. The fans can talk stuff for the next year. Give them credit. Jalen Hurts, MVP. Quite honestly, as much as he ended up showing up at the end, in my opinion, I thought Josh Sweat was really the MVP to me. Not only with the 2.5 sacks, but he had the little play that kind of caused the interception near the end when they could not handle him on that side. And that was just some amazing stuff to see from him. And I think he's on the free agent market, I think, if I'm not mistaken. If memory serves me correctly, I think he is. So that ought to be interesting to see how that goes. Again, Uncle Steve's Lounge, as y'all coming in, make sure y'all hit the like button for me. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, hit the like button. We appreciate y'all joining us here. Glad to have you. Got a couple of things we're going to talk about today, but obviously you can talk about whatever you want to. We can even go outside the world of football if you like, but we'll centralize it on the next couple of things here in the chat. First, Philadelphia Eagles, NFC champion. You can't, I mean, that was a wiping yesterday. And anybody who didn't watch the game and said, oh, man, Kansas City scored 20 points. They scored those 20 points when it was not even relevant. Those points, especially the last little bomb to Xavier Worthy, I thought that was kind of like, I mean, I guess you don't ever quit, but yeah, it was over with. Philadelphia had that game from start to finish. The defense, quite honestly, again, Jalen Hurts, great job. Did make one interception, but for the most part, played a pretty solid game. Kansas City did one thing well. They really stopped Saquon Barkley. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 27 carries for 58 yards. If you would have told me prior to yesterday's game that they were going to hold Saquon to 50 yards or less than 60 yards, or better yet, just less than 100 yards, I would have said there's no way that Philadelphia would have won that game. But yeah, that defense came to show up, and that defense isn't going anywhere either. That's a young group over there. Give them a lot of credit for trusting in their scouting and going out and getting all those Georgia boys and doing what they're doing. Good job by them. And sometimes, you know, I know everyone, I mean, it's almost like the automatic, well, we got all the guys who won those 2 national championships, so they should be good. I mean, that's like Captain Obvious, but no team had ever done that before. So give Howie Roseman, the GM for Philadelphia, a lot of credit for going out and getting all those guys and saying to himself, you know what? These guys were talented enough to, you know, hook up 2 championships together, so they should be good enough to win the national championship. Not national championship, a Super Bowl. And gosh darn it, he was right. They ended up doing their thing. So good for them. Good for the Philadelphia Eagles. Fans, again, that's a whole different story. But they are going to be the champs going into the year. Now, with that being said, you know, the Atlanta Falcons, I just saw how they come out with the thing like right when the season ends, where they think the Falcons are. And it's pretty much the same as they've been really for the last 4 or 5 years. They think they're middle of the pack, right there, but not quite over the hump to make the playoffs. I think I saw one of the rankings on ESPN had them at an 18th ranked team. Again, this is prior to free agency, draft, all that good stuff. So got a long way to go before we start taking that stuff seriously. But what goals do the Falcons have? Obvious the goal of winning the Super Bowl, but what's on the shopping list for Atlanta? What's on the to-do list for Atlanta? Obvious the first thing on the list is figuring out what to do with Kirk Cousins and his contract. I think after his antics last week of divulging about his injury that are not divulging that to the powers that be in the NFL. Will the Falcons get in trouble for that again? Is that one of those things that they can come back and say, hey, y'all lied on the injury list? And is that something you can come back and find, take another draft pick, which we already don't have draft picks? What exactly happens in that situation? What's going to happen? But what are we going to do about Kirk Cousins? That's number one. Number two, whatever power we need to have to change the philosophy, players, talent on the defensive side of the field has to be done. There was a stretch last year when I thought the Atlanta Falcons defense was playing as good as anybody in the NFC for about a 3 to 4 game period. That didn't last long. And as you see yesterday, with a dominant defense, you can do some things. So I look forward to seeing what's going to happen with our new DC and see if Jeff can do whatever he needs to do to get this team to play some solid defense so he can kind of balance out what's been going on the offense. Obviously, the maturing of Michael Penix Jr. Is he going to take a big step with those first couple of games that he played, or is this going to be a return of what Desmond Ridder does? Showed a couple of flashes the year before at the end, and then come in and kind of lay an egg the next year. I think it's going to be different, but want to hear what you're going to think. You all think about that. And last but not least, just seems like to be the fire starter talk of today, and it happened at the Super Bowl, so it is kind of sports related. K-Dot's halftime show, K-Dot, aka Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar had the halftime show yesterday, and I watched it. I watched it with my kids, who one is a teenager, one is just turned 20. And they seem to think that, I mean, it was okay to them. My daughter really liked it. My son was like, it was all right. Now, full disclosure, he's a Drake fan. But at the same time, I think he was, transparent enough to say, yeah, it was all right. It was pretty good. And I looked at it, and I like Kendrick Lamar. It's not a knock against him as a person. I'm a singles guy when it comes to a lot of artists sometimes. And if I really like the artist, I'll get into the album. But as far as Kendrick Lamar is concerned, I like some of the singles that he's had out. I was big in the DNA. I was big in the Humble. Love Not Like Us from a sense of the song itself. But, I'm not a diehard Kendrick fan, but I thought the show was okay. But man, I went to sleep and then I woke up and it sounded like, oh my goodness, I didn't like this show. So I guess all of a sudden, I'm not black enough this morning. Because I guess I missed all these 30 to 50 symbolisms and things of that nature that went on in the show, that because I didn't react like, oh my God, it's our new Martin Luther King or our new Malcolm X, that all of a sudden I'm out of touch. God bless Kendrick Lamar for maybe bringing the last couple of generations, the millennials and Gen Z, I should say, bringing all those folks aboard and finally making some, social sense, waking some people up in certain areas. That's great. I just really didn't like a lot of it. I told somebody on Facebook I gave it a C+. Oh my goodness. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. And I say, I don't know. I don't know. So I want to hear what y'all thought. Y'all think it was a good show, a bad show? And I want to make it clear when I'm saying this. I say it with as much truth as I can say. I mean, I don't need to be educated by Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, Uncle Sam Jackson in a red, white, and blue. I get it. Oh, got me, man. I didn't think of that. I have no idea what the Squid Games are, so I just found it out about that yesterday. Could care less. My life has been perfect without knowing what it is. And then, quite honestly, the other half of the show had to deal with his beef with Drake, which again, I know in the hip hop culture, that's a big deal, all the way back from LL Cool J and Kool Moe Dee. The worst one with Biggie and Pac, and I guess Kendrick and Drake took it up to now. And I understand the cultural relevance of them kind of going back and forth. Last summer, it's good for hip hop. Okay, cool. How do you mean I have to go literally crazy? I missed. I thought that was Serena Williams. Honestly, I just didn't say anything. I said, "Dang, that look like Serena Williams." I knew she tried. I knew her and Drake used to date. I didn't know him and SZA did. And all of a sudden now it becomes this, well, we're on Kendrick's side. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not on anybody's side as far as that's concerned. I'm like, it's about as immature as Biggie and Pac and Kool Moe Dee and LL. But again, for the rap culture, that's how they get down. And that's between them. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a mid-level show, and I stand by that. And I'm not going to have anybody. What is it? It wasn't entertainment. It was education. From Kendrick Lamar. Appreciate you. Thanks, Kendrick. I had no idea about what's going on in this country before he was here, prior to him being born. Yeah, I guess I just been under a rock. Kendrick Lamar enlightened me. But I just laugh because people are really going at it, and I stand on what I stand on. I just like, yeah, it was a hate. So tell me what y'all think. Thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat. If y'all think it was a good show, thumbs up. If you think it was a bad show, thumbs down. And just tell me why. And tell me what side. And I'm not going to beat anybody up for saying it was the most enlightening thing to them in the world. Good. Maybe that enlighten some people on some things. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is when people try to tell me, you mean you didn't get it? You didn't see the X on the one part and the red and the, you didn't see that? You couldn't tell what that meant? Could care less. I just want to get to the third quarter, quite honestly. I've sat through Lady Gaga. I've sat through other folks I haven't been crazy about over the years. And again, depends on who you like. If you're not independent, and I'll tell you this from a rap standpoint, I mean, right now, as far as rap is concerned, and a lot of people are kind of half and half on him because he's more of a producer than a rapper, even though a lot of people put him in that category. I'm a huge Tyler, the Creator guy, but I don't think, that makes him, I don't think Tyler, the Creator is on that level right now with Kendrick. But at the same time, I mean, that's somebody that I get into, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of like, I thought Tyler would have done a good job yesterday compared to what I saw. But again, to each his own. So we're going to talk about those three things. The Eagles winning the Super Bowl, the Atlanta Falcons, what they're going to do in 2025. And tell me what you thought about the show last night. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Again, as y'all coming in, make sure y'all say hello and make sure you hit that like button for me in here. First name out here is John Higgins. What's going on, John? How you doing, brother? You got Uncle Steve, what it do? Well, Super Bowl was a blueprint on how to build an NFL team. Still defense. Defense wins championships and a good enough offense. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, we saw it yesterday. I mean, that just happened to be this year. You can't really say that as much about the last couple of years. The first time the Eagles and Kansas City played, neither one of them played defense. And the game was at 38-35 or whatever. So, I mean, yeah, this year, that's actually cool. I just think you need to have a balanced team. you have a balanced team, you're going to be in the mix. Yesterday, it was super obvious that Philadelphia's defense overpowered Kansas City's offensive line. That bottom line, I don't care who is back there quarterbacking. If you have an offensive line that was bleeding like they were, and remember, they weren't blitzing. They were sending 4. And I understand the narrative, the Georgia guys, and I get it. Yeah, I hear you. Good job, but we could do the same thing. Just got to do it right. That's all. Justin Swisher in the house. What's going on, Justin? How you doing, brother? So what's up? Falcons need to double down on D-line and get pressure with 4. Again, people, obviously you want to mimic what you just saw, and that's fine. That's what wins championships. You're absolutely right. That helps. I think you got to have both. Offense and defense. Last night, defense showed out. This is the same defense that couldn't stop. Well, they stopped them at the end, but Matthew Stafford almost beat this same team. So I do think there's a balance that you have to have with them. And granted, it was at the end of the year. At the beginning of the year, Atlanta Falcons played these same cats. Now, I know they didn't have A.J. Brown, but shoot, they wasn't throwing the ball like that anyway this year. So, I don't know. TG in the house. What's going on, TG? He said, watching that game got made me see we are behind as the organization. It's hard to argue that. Absolutely. Got to get it together. Travis Preston in the house. What's up, Travis? Philly is loaded between veterans and young players. They could repeat. I'm envious of their front office. Yeah, if you don't give anybody else some credit, you got to give credit to Howie Roseman, the GM of Philadelphia. He is something else. Now, they are going to probably lose a couple of folks. Bond is definitely gone because that's going to be Nakobe Dean's spot when he comes back. Josh Sweat probably played himself into an overpaying contract this coming year. Trying to see anybody else on that Philly team that's a significant free agent that played yesterday. I don't see anybody else. Brandon Graham is probably getting ready to retire, I'm sure, after that game. But Zach Vaughn and Sweat are definitely probably on the way out and getting ready to get paid. David Starks, what's going on, David? What's up, Steve? I am not scared of Philly. Kansas City was a lot more flawed than people thought. A whole offseason, I think we're competitive at the very least. Yeah, I think we're competitive too. I honestly think if you just keep it like it is offensively and then just work on the defense, I think we could work wonders, man. We really can. Alan Mike is in the house. What's up, Alan Mike? I feel the Eagles have a great chance of repeating. They are an old team. Yes, absolutely. I was mentioning that earlier. Where you hiding in the house? And I got to give where you hiding. Big time Philadelphia fan. My brother, congratulations to you. I watched him last year or 2 years ago go through a lot of stuff when they were getting their butt whooped. Yesterday, 2 years ago, and he looked like the saddest camper, but I'm so happy for you, brother. Say 6 sacks, including the strip sack, 2 INTs, including the pick six by Cooper DeJean, a.k.a. White Jackie Robinson. You know what? It's funny where you're hiding. I saw him playing basketball, and I'm going to tell you what. Homeboy got started. He got skills. Man, I mean, he was slamming on everybody. And so athlete, and they did it right, man. Absolutely. Congratulations, man. Congratulations on your team winning that Super Bowl. I know you're going to rub it in your buddy's ear, in your buddy's face there, as you should. 330 in the house. What's going on, 330? So Uncle Steve looking forward to a mature, non-biased take on the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's what got to. If you're talking about the game, I think the game was just pretty much simple. Their defensive line defeated Kansas City's offensive line. Folks, Jalen Hurts was probably going to get the MVP anyway, because most of the time that's what they do. They give it to the quarterback. Quite honestly, the defense won that game yesterday. The defense won that game. And more power to Jalen. He played a great game last time. And, I just think I think the defense was great. Defense was great. Got a super chat coming in here. Oh, first one. That's Jay Black. What's up, Jay Black? Oh, man, let me get something in here. What we got going on here? Let's do this. Steve Lounge. Uncle Steve's Lounge, we here. Jay Black, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. It says Falcons used to have a front four that could do what the Eagles did. That's right. Front four had Patrick Kearney and three others I can't recall. Any of you guys know the names. Now, you talking about Patrick Kearney, so that was the Vic era. That was Patrick Kearney. Who else was on that line? I'll find out in a second. I know some of y'all can help me out, but that was the team that won the NFC South back in 2004 with Vic. I give that team right now. That team had on the defense, we had Mr. Defense. You had Brady Smith was on that team. Patrick Kearney was on that team. Roderick Coleman was on that team. I'm trying to see who else was on there. Those I know those are the main guys on that squad. So yeah, that's some good folks we had back then. And actually, and then we lost to Philadelphia, ironically, on that team too. So hey. Thanks, Jay Black. I appreciate the love, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Miss B in the house. How you doing, Miss B? Good to see you. I see you in a while. Hope everything's going well with you. I really do. T Walker is in here. What's up, T Walker? I say we trade 2 first-round picks for the 4 That is a masterclass in team building. You think about what he did, T. He not only this is the same guy that was in place in the 2017 season when they beat the Patriots. They broke that team down, built them back up, and our Philadelphia fans to say it's a long time. But Falcon fans would kill to say we won Super Bowls within 7 years. I think that's pretty good. Let's put it this way. We haven't been to the Super Bowl since they won the first title and won their second title, to show you how long that is. But good for them, man. Good for them for being relevant. 330 says the Chiefs picked their poison and it went as it should have. Okay, you're right. David Starr says, unlike others, I like K-Dot's show. Thought it was quite thoughtful and symbolic, especially when Serena was crip walking to daylight. They not like us. Again, it was cool. It was all right. It just wasn't as to me, it wasn't as groundbreaking. Now I have to also put myself in a box to say, look, y'all, everybody in the world is not the greatest Kendrick Lamar fan. I like him, but I'm not like, oh my God. I'm a little bit more old school. Matter of fact, I'm probably more old school than y'all think. I mean, I'm sitting here still holding the flame for Run DMC and LL Cool J. You could tell me. Now I do like the little second, second age of fans, but yeah, it's all good. Where you hide and say our Eagles fans are the greatest. Y'all are kind of interesting though, brother. Y'all are kind of interesting. Y'all tear up your own city. I don't know about all that. Y'all are passionate, but y'all tear up your city. I don't like that for some reason. But more power to you. Y'all winning the championships. 82 Monte Carlo. That's my brother Carlo in the house. What's going on, brother? Because Atlanta needs to get in here and quit being a so-so franchise. They're going to mess around and lose, folks. You're right about that, Carlo. Everybody else, every other franchise seems to either change up, move ahead of us as we just kind of sit in idle. And here's the crazy thing, Carlo. We don't even, during this whole stretch between 17 and this past season, with the exception of 1 year, the year we were 4-12, with the exception of that year, we have not really been like top 5 aside of that 1 year that we foolishly drafted Kyle Pitts. But we've been mid, almost like the Kendrick Lamar show. We were mid, like just good enough to not be scrubs, but bad enough never to make the playoffs. So who's going to unlock that secret sauce that's going to get us to the next spot? Terry Fontenot, and I like Terry personally. I like Terry, but Terry's on the clock. Terry's more on the clock to me than Raheem Morris. Because a lot of these moves, first thing everybody was like, oh, well, maybe it was Arthur Smith. Well, first year, biggest decision you made, go out there and get Kirk Cousins. And Benedict Arnold has been a traitor after giving him all that love, letting him swag surf in the stadium, and now all of a sudden, oh yeah, I wasn't hurt. I mean, no, my bad. I was hurt. My bad. Oh man, 330 said, how many years has Philadelphia been building this defense? They have. It didn't take super long. Quite honestly, it didn't take super long. False start in the house. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in here. David Stark says the to-do list, D-line in the draft, Kirk Cousins out of Atlanta, quarterback on the other side of AJ. I agree. I think the Kirk Cousins thing is going to hold the key to seeing what happens in free agents. And folks, don't worry. We're going to get some free agents. They just might not be splashy free agents, but we'll figure it out. That number for the salary cap is going to go up, and we'll have an opportunity to do some things. Hell Rail is in the house. What's going on? He said it was a cool performance. I agree with that. I don't want anybody to sit here and think I thought the performance was horrible. I just think it didn't move me like I think people think some things don't move you like other people. And I'm glad if anything, this woke up a new generation. And I looked on the internet today and I had little 20-year-olds and 25-year-olds trying to tell me what's culturally accepted and what's cultural, what we supposed to fight for. And if we looked at why would y'all don't get it? Kendrick came there to educate, not entertain. Well, guess what? He went to a football game, which is entertainment. And more power to him for giving his message. I don't have any problem with that. But just because it's not received as strongly as certain, and I think you have a lot of people feel like it was a strong message, but I'm like, yeah, it was cool, but yeah, I just didn't like it. I don't know. Not didn't like the message, just didn't like the whole presentation as a whole. I thought it was cool, but it was, David Starr says, yeah, but just because I like the show doesn't mean you had to. Not going that far. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my part. That's my thing. Yeah, David likes it. I didn't. I think me and David gonna be good. But I think all of this. You mean you missed that? You missed it? Oh no! If you go back and rewind, which is one problem because I'm not trying to rewind on the day of the Super Bowl. If you go back and look, oh man, Carlos said he liked the show. He thumbs up. Kelvin says Serena crib walking automatic A. Serena was good. And I'm gonna tell you what, when I first saw her, and forgive me because I'm not dogging Serena. I just saw Serena in the little ESPN thing, and I don't know what Serena did to her face or whatever. During that thing, it looked very, I'll just say, interesting to be respectful. But whatever it was, it didn't look like that yesterday. So when I saw, and I was like, oh, that looked like Serena, but I was looking for this different type of look from whatever was going on with her face at the time. But, you know, I knew about the Drake Serena attempt, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Carlos says, I like the K-Dot halftime because it's time the real makes a comeback. It's not always going to be entertaining as the fun stuff, but the work has to be done. And I don't have an issue with people that keep saying it's not always entertaining. It was slightly entertaining. It was. But sometimes folks just want to watch football. And folks just want to get from the second quarter to the third quarter. And it didn't have anything to do with Sam Jackson dressing up like he did, with him trying to make a special message to Drake, with you know, all of the things that I guess you're supposed to catch if you're a Black American in 2025. I just didn't go overboard for the show. I thought it was okay. Like I said, I like Humble. I like DNA. I like Not Like Us. And TV Off is good too. But I don't know. I'm just Jay Black again says Falcons used to have oh yeah, that was the same thing you put on there. I'm sorry, brother. There you go. Kenan Melvin in the house. What's going on, Kenan? How you doing, brother? Say, what's up, after watching the Super Bowl? We should be good as fans. Hey, we better listen. The one thing you can say is that the Falcons have one feather in their cap. We beat them. That's it. The only person that wasn't on the team was AJ Brown, albeit that's a big whoever isn't there. But I was talking to one of my old Army buddies who texted me today, and I was congratulating him. And I told him, I said, yeah, y'all need to thank us because we kind of woke y'all up after that loss, because I think that was was that their second loss of the year? Or was that first loss of the year? I can't remember. I think that was the second loss of the year. And they pretty much turned it around after that. I think the only game they lost after us was Washington. So Mike says, don't forget the Bucks blew this Eagles team out at home badly. Yeah, and the Bucks, I forgot the Bucks beat them too. Yeah, that somebody was saying that on national radio today. Talking about the NFC South played Philadelphia well. And it's not that, you know, is the thing that, is it Kansas City that wasn't as great this year, or was Philadelphia that good? Let's keep it real. Kansas City struggled a lot this year. And when I say struggle, it's hard to say 15-2 is a struggle, but they kind of, you know, lucked up with a lot of games this year, including in the Mercedes-Benz here in Atlanta. But give them credit because they did, you know, they were able to get through. More power to them. So we'll see. Travis says we drafted Rook over Cooper DeJean. Thanks, Terry. Yeah, but we can get into we drafted this person over that person all day, man. Dude, it's such a lucky thing. It's such a lucky draw. I can't, for every single pick, I can't do that. I get where you're going. I'm not criticizing you personally, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, they thought they saw something in Root. Root got hurt. Root was inactive a couple of games this year. Let's see what happens next. Mike said, did anyone find out why Terry Fontenot was the only GM not at the Super Bowl? I did not. I know that's been a big story, but I did not. I did not. Cuz in the house, what's going on? Jason in the house. Philadelphia Eagles fan. Big time. He says, great win yesterday. The city of Philly is lit. Go Birds. I don't want y'all to get too lit, though. I mean, I saw some dudes tear down. I saw some pictures, Jason, of some dudes pulling down a traffic signal. And to me, I'm saying to myself, I understand it's jubilation. I understand the meaning of letting out some stuff, just making people know, hey, we won the game. But dang, man, why you tear up your own city? It's almost like Freaknik here in Atlanta. Like people say, go out and have a good time, and you tear up stuff. Why? And they were celebrating. They won the Super Bowl. They are tearing up. They pulled down the sign, and people start stomping on it. Didn't somebody die last week in Philadelphia? After the championship game? And somebody jumped on a pole and fell and unfortunately lost their life? He could have been celebrating last night. It's crazy. And don't get me wrong, when the Falcons won, that was the NFC Championship last year. Now we know we're not out there on the street, but at the same time, man, I'm like, goodness gracious, y'all be safe, man. Be safe. But Jason, I know, man, congratulations to you, brother. Hopefully we can aspire to be in y'all league, but just always know that the Falcons steered y'all on the right track when we came up there to Philly and put that thing on you. Woke y'all up this year. That's probably the biggest win we had this year. Billy Mills in the house. What's going on, Billy? He said, I'm going to say, they can be beat next issue. We beat them this year. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I think we could beat Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia, look, I really think Philadelphia might be lucky that Washington took care of their business and beating Detroit. I really thought Detroit had a better overall team this year. Philly went on a big-time streak. But, yeah, I think the NFC, I still say going into next year, even what you saw with Philadelphia, they are wide open. Kansas City did one thing that a lot of teams didn't do. They stopped Saquon. And they tried to give him the ball. It wasn't like they were trying to go against the grain. 25 carries, if I'm not mistaken, 56 or 57 yards yesterday. Saquon could not get off. So if you can stop Saquon, you got a chance to win. Millie Mill says Wayne would have had all those other races in there rocking with a Millie or Lollipop. Probably so. Wayne still, but that's Drake's boy, so you know how that goes. Kenneth Davis in the house. What's up, Kenneth? How you doing, brother? And we beat them on their first home game on Monday night, their home opener. My brother Kenneth, I was there, my friend. I was there. I remember. I was there. I was surrounded. I think I still got some of those. Let me see if I can pull up those. See if I can pull up those pictures of that great time in Philadelphia. Hold on one second. Let me see. While I'm going to the next one. Carlos said that hunger and will was the driving force. They played with cohesion, something the Falcons can do if we get on one accord. Carlos, do you think? I mean, I'm really a big believer that I think bringing in a legitimate defensive coordinator, somebody who can teach, might be what we need on this team. I really do. I think if you have the right person in place that can teach young guys, give Vic Fangio all the credit in the world. Half of that team, as everybody keep acknowledging, is part of that Georgia 2-year run of national championship. So they haven't been there long. So if you get the right person that can come in there and teach these cats, I mean, they can probably do some damage. But you got to get the right person in there. You got to. You got to. Keely in the house. What's up, Keely? Good to see you, bro. Mark Zeno called the Falcons and he said Terry missed the Senior Bowl with exit interviews. Oh, okay. And that's understandable. You got to get through a whole, you got to get through a whole team when you do that. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I'm pretty sure the Falcons had people, they had people that were representing them there. Yeah, when you come off of a losing season, we're all going to look at reasons why you shouldn't, you should be at places like that. But quite honestly, I get it. I'm not going to dog them out 100% for that. There are bigger fish to fry, like trying to see what's up with that Kirk Cousins contract. That's bigger than anything. Jason says, unfortunately, that's what they do here. I treated so many drunks last night. Oh, yeah, I can imagine, brother. I can imagine. And that's sad, man. I mean, wait, let me make it clear. I'm not saying sad to go out and drink and enjoy yourself and do all that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, dang, man, I don't know if I want to celebrate to the point where I'll remember. I keep thinking back. Me and Tyler were there, as I tell everybody the story, about the NFC Championship game when we beat Green Bay. Now, granted, I was with my son, but at the same time, I remember the moment like it was yesterday. I don't want to cloud my whole, system with stuff where I don't remember. But to each their own. Carlos said the city of New Orleans ain't got no love for Terry. Look at where he's at. They take it personally. Oh yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Kelvin says Philly can repeat. But Kellen on his way to the Aints. Plus, Philly got a load of rookie contracts coming due. P.S. Nothing could stop Prince in the pouring rainstorm. That curtain guitar scene classic. And look, unless he had an appointment with God that day for that to be so divine and prophetic for the rain to hit sooner, it wasn't raining the whole performance. It started raining right when he started playing Purple Rain. So that, to me, that was awesome. That was actually awesome. Kenneth says, home opener Monday night. And congrats, Eagles. Hey, really like your theme opener. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I said that's one of my buddies at my church that worked with me on that and got that in there. We looking for actually going to do some things for the 2025 season. Hopefully that you folks will try to keep it, try to do some things. Keeley says Kansas City defense hadn't given up 100-yard rusher all year. That's inclusive of King Henry. I mean, listen, Kansas City defense did not play a slouch of a game. Here's the problem. If you're giving the ball to Mahomes and Mahomes is uncharacteristically just giving it up like that, especially that second interception to Bond. He made a rookie mistake trying to throw across his body, and he didn't see DeJean right there. But the one to Bond, that's one of the reasons why Josh Sweat should have gotten the MVP too, because I think he was just bull rushing old boy all day, making him look horrible. But yeah, that Kansas City defense is no joke. Mike says, Unc, if we have another losing season, will Marshmallow Blank get rid of Morris? I think he will. I think this was a clear situation where we're gonna. Arthur Blank probably has pie on his face right now because of the optics of the Kirk Cousins thing. We had to give up on him quicker than we wanted to, and now you're stuck with the albatross of this huge contract. We'll be able to get over it, even if we have to take a big dead cap this year. But at the same time, he's probably sitting there like, well, dog, y'all talked me into this, so I'm gonna need somebody to work their way out of it. And they better hope and pray Mike Penix holds up and gives them pretty much some of what we've been looking at in those 3 games. I hope he will. I think he will. I am about our quarterback position. I feel this is the first time at the end of the year that I felt comfortable going into the year at our quarterback position since probably 2018. 2018 was the year Matt had the last good stat year he had. Since that, this is the first year that I've felt comfortable about the quarterback going into this year. Millie Mills says, by the way, I don't even think that was the blueprint to beat Kansas City. I truly believe Andy and Patty will adjust. I think it adds to Mahomes' fire inside them, but that's just me. Yeah, but those people who are counting out Patrick Mahomes and say, well, the streak is over, the run is over, yeah, I got news for y'all. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid going back, as they say, to the lab, and they're going to get it right. They're going to get it right. I just can't write. That brother has been to 7 straight AFC championships, 5 Super Bowls. You don't do that if your brain trust isn't capable of adjusting. Think about how bad they got beat by Tampa Bay. And remember, they got beat by Tampa Bay that year, beat kind of like they did against Philly, lost the next year to Joe Burrow, and everybody was ready to bury Mahomes then. And then now all of a sudden, 3 Super Bowls later, 2 wins. Now we back to, now all of a sudden, I keep saying I was listening to Stephen A. Smith, like, well, enough of the GOAT talk. And I understand GOAT is relevant, and people talk about GOATs with 2 Super Bowl wins. But he's still actively the guy I fear the most. Even as bad of a game as he had yesterday, I still, if you told me what quarterback right now do you want when you're trying to win a game, I still pick Mahomes first. No disrespect to Jalen Hurts, who the great moment for him. Keely says Bijan had 16 carries for 31 yards against Kansas City defense. That's inclusive. Defense is underrated, very underrated. And Chris Jones was hurting yesterday. Not to say that would have made a great difference, but yeah, Kansas City's defense is tough. They're going to be around. They got young boys on that team too. They're not going anywhere. So for everybody's thinking that run is over, okay. Atlanta Falcons pandemic in there. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Y'all make sure y'all check him out on his YouTube channel doing his thing. He said that legitimate DC is all that was missing from that defense last season. We definitely have what we need to succeed. Now, we have part of what we need, brother. I still think we need some a couple of go-getters on the defensive side, and you're right about the coaching. A DC can make a difference. A DC can make. Think about Vic Fangio came in there. This was the same defense, y'all. This was not a different defense. This is the same defense that was getting gutted at the end of the year last year. I'm talking about Philadelphia. Philadelphia was getting gutted. Remember they had the big lead, and then all of a sudden they lost, 4 out of 5, and then got trashed by Tampa Bay. And Vic Fangio comes in there, and in 1 year, defense is one of the best, if not the best. Sometimes it's coaching. Carlos says it's our time more than ever. Terry and company careers depend on it this season. You dang right it does. We ain't gonna wait for them all day, bro. Alan Mike says, I feel that Terry Fontenot missed the Super Bowl because he had to pick up Raheem's capris from the dry cleaners. Y'all ain't gonna let Raheem wear them capris, man. Now, it would look better if you win. But, yeah, Raheem, I do kind of worry about the capris sometimes. Bobby D in the house. What's going on, my brother? Hope everything's going well with you. He says, hire John Abraham to shore up the edge and linebacker core. Maybe his presence will bring in success since he's been gone. I wouldn't mind the Falcons going to some of the veterans and some of the guys from yesteryear, but it just kind of depends on the Raheem connection with them. I think it was a reason why Chuck Smith couldn't get a job here, and Chuck Smith had to camp, and now he's working with Baltimore down there. So maybe they didn't reach out. Maybe that's what they need to do this year. Reach out to some of those guys and see if they can help out. Now, just because you bring in a guy who was a wrecker doesn't necessarily mean it'll work. I think for the Falcons, it worked for us when Brian Cox came in here. Does John Abraham want to do that? I don't know. I've seen a couple of interviews with him, and quite honestly, I haven't seen where he's shown a desire. Maybe he does. He looked like he's kind of ready to get in the media to me. I think I could see him doing some media stuff, judging by the last couple of times I've seen him. In my opinion, he does. DJ in the house, what's going on, brother? Good to see you tonight here on Upper Steve's Lounge. Don't forget, y'all, as y'all are in here, make sure y'all hit that like button for me, especially on YouTube. I appreciate the love, appreciate the support, keeping this thing rolling as we get into the off season for the Atlanta Falcons and the NFL. And for some of y'all that want to see some great football in about 6 weeks, the UFL is on. Okay, well, maybe they're on. We'll see. DJ says Kansas City got packed up last night. I think it was Mahomes' worst game in the Super Bowl. No, I think that Tampa Bay game, he didn't score any touchdowns. So as bad as it looked yesterday, he looked worse against Tampa Bay. Either way, it is showing that a good defense can stop even the best quarterbacks. He said the last time I can remember Mahomes playing that bad in the Super Bowls against Brady and the Bucs a couple of years ago. Same, I have all the confidence in the world in our quarterback. I got a lot of confidence in Penix. I really do. Raymond Collins in here. What's up, Raymond? He said, can we get the swag? Look, man, we get the swag all day. I need us to support a winning team. I really do. I need us to get this team back on track. My brother Chuck in the house. What's going on, brother Cleveland? Says, what's up, Steve? Interesting fact. Every team that led in total defense and rushing that made it to the Super Bowl has won the Super Bowl. The defense just got there, and so did Barkley, and get the likes up. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's a formula that works. No doubt. I think we got the rushing. But one of the things I'll say is everybody talks about it, and we are very revisionist history here because think about it. We just saw a all-time defensive effort against one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. So naturally, everybody's going to want to mirror what Philadelphia did to do their defense. I'm not 100% sure it has to be the top defense or lead in rushing, quite honestly. Really, the lead in rushing didn't help yesterday. The defense did. Quite honestly, the Philadelphia offense, yeah, they had a couple of little power plays, the bomb to A.J. Brown at the end. But Philly's offense wasn't exactly lighting up Kansas City. I think by the time Philadelphia scored those last couple of points in the second quarter, I think Kansas City's defense was tired. If Kansas City wasn't going 3 and out, they would turning the ball over, and they turned back around. You go on the field against a team that's mostly running. What were they showing Philadelphia's offensive line? Average 338 pounds on the line. If you go up against a big bruising offensive line like that, and really more for the pass protection. The rushing wasn't doing anything, but the pass protection was awesome yesterday. Jalen basically did what he wanted to do. Yeah, they got him a couple of times, but for the most part, he had a pretty clean pocket. So I give them a lot of credit for doing that. But I won't go as far to say you have to have the number one defense, but just have a good balance, man. DJ says Mahomes will be straight. Look at how Brady got when Eli Manning get beat by Eli Manning twice in the Super Bowl, and Eli was never a superstar. He was average at best and clutch when he needed to be. I'm going to ask y'all a question about that, too. I hadn't had a chance to talk to anybody. Was anybody surprised that Luke Kuechly didn't get in the Hall of Fame? I was Eli Manning, to me, I thought it was going to be kind of a Eli is mid as far as his record, literally mid. I think he's right at 500, maybe one game below, one game above, something like that. But he's got two of the biggest asterisks in the NFL when he beat the best quarterback twice and was MVP of the Super Bowl 2 times. Is that enough to make a Hall of Fame career? I guess not for the first ballot, but I just kind of thought Luke Kuechly was going to be automatic. You could argue Kuechly, when he wasn't hurt or wasn't dealing with the concussion issues, Luke was probably the best linebacker in the NFL. I'll look at something right quick with Luke Kuechly. How many All-Pro? That's my goal. It's not Pro Bowls to me. It's All-Pro. Luke Kuechly. Now he only played 8 years, but listen to this: in 8 years, he was 5-time in 8 years, 5-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro. Pro Bowls don't really mean as much to me anymore, but defensive Player of the Year 2013, Defensive Rookie of the Year 2012, NFL's All-Decade Team, 3-time Butkus Award winner. I mean, I just don't know what else you could have done as far as Luke Kuechly is concerned. Maybe they're gonna punish him because he couldn't play, but I say that's one of the things that they kind of write it with. Congratulations to Sterling Sharp. One of the things they write it with him because he was one of those guys that had a shortened career. But anybody who remembers Sterling Sharp when he was playing, Sterling Sharp was next to Jerry Rice. He was Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. That was Jerry Rice, Sterling Sharp. back in the day. Sterling Sharp doesn't get hurt, easily first ballot Hall of Famer. Easily. Hellrail says, isn't Ulbrich the DC? He is. What did I say? Did I say wrong? Maybe I said something wrong, brother. If I did, forgive me. DJ says we can always improve the O-line pass rush. Absolutely we can. He also says, congratulations to Philly for winning last night. I get tired of Kansas City winning almost every year. I think a lot of people, it's so interesting to me. A lot of people kind of got sick of Kansas City. It's interesting. Carlos says, get us some homegrown guys who love Atlanta wholeheartedly and not just here for a check. That could be something. What's the young man from Georgia Tech balling out at linebacker this year when he was killing Georgia in the game? Every time they turned around, he was in Beck's face. I cannot remember what the guy's name was, but yeah, he was truly pretty good. False Start says, I bet Jason Kelsey pissed right now 1 year later. Yeah, I know, right? I know. He's fine, though. Jason Kelsey is a media darling. And that podcast, him and Travis there. That's why I almost think Travis might call it quits, because the Kelsey brothers are money for the NFL. They are the best thing since Peyton and Eli. And a lot of people will probably say they are what's the word I'm looking for? Unpolished Peyton and Eli, because Peyton and Eli are kind of polished to me. But Jason and Travis kind of represent, today, where you don't have to be the cleanest cut in the whatever. Those just two big boys that have a good time. That's why I really think I could see Travis calling it quits, because I know the money's got to be there with the podcast, and as many commercials as you see Gronk making. Gronk was on everything last night, wasn't he? I can see Travis Kelsey doing the same. Chuck says, keep in mind, Philly got lots of talent from 3 years of the greatest UGA defense ever. Is foresight by their front office. We screwed the pooch in those drafts. Who knows when that will be again? Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. Not yesterday, right before you came on. And we were saying that same thing about grabbing from those two national championship games. So, yeah, I absolutely. Say, Sister Alert, what's going on? Sis, how you doing? I said it was not expecting that story. K-Dot's halftime show was worth watching. Him use the Say Drake line and turn to smile to the camera and burn through Drake's soul and Serena dance. And it was good. I mean, again, like I said, Kendrick is but it wasn't life-changing for me. I know a lot of people have different perspectives on that and stuff, but I give it a C. I give it a solid C. I like the hits. I was big when they did Humble. I think Humble's probably my favorite song by him. I thought that was one of his greatest ones. And DNA, seeing them do that again. I do like a couple of the cuts on the album, the TV Off. I like the Luther song. It was all right. It was all right to me. Raymond Collins says, congrats to my fam, number 84. Yeah, Sterling Sharp, man. I'm again, if you didn't see him play, I'm just trying to tell y'all, he was really, really good. He was really awesome. Chuck even kind of verifies that with me. He says Sterling was actually better than Shannon. He deserves the induction. Yeah, it wasn't. It was. I don't even think it was an argument that Sterling was better than Shannon. Shannon Sharp was in the right place at the right time. A lot of those Super Bowls, when you really get down to it, I just feel like that was the injury. The injury held him back. The injury was one of the things that you can't predict. It was a neck injury. I don't know if today's technology or medicine would have made it any better. They would have had something that could have healed him a little bit better. But at Sterling Sharp, sans Jerry Rice at that time, and Jerry was probably on the other side. Not that he was past his prime, but Jerry was more over the hill than Sterling was ascending at that time. But go look at his numbers. If y'all don't believe me, go look at his numbers. Matter of fact, you know what? I'll look at them for you and see what we got here. But I was surprised that I was really surprised that Luke Kuechly didn't get in. I really was. I didn't realize that. Sterling Sharp played for 7 seasons and really more 6.5. He was 3-time first team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler back when Pro Bowls probably meant a little bit more. He led the NFL in receptions 3 years. He led the NFL in receiving yards 1 year. He led the NFL in touchdowns 2 years. His totals for 7 seasons: 595 receptions, 8,134 yards, 65 touchdowns. I'll argue you, because he ended in 1994. The advent of the pass game being what it is now. Back in 94, everybody wasn't throwing for 4,000 yards. And back then, it was a huge deal for quarterbacks to throw up and for receivers to put up the kind of receptions he was getting. Like, I'm going to just say it for example. His best year was, well, kind of argued. I mean, he 92, 93, and 94. These are his numbers. 92, he went 108 receptions, 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. 93, 112 receptions, 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. 94 receptions, 1,100 yards, 18 touchdowns. I mean, brother was balling, man. So it's never going to be, I just don't know why it took him that long. But the Luke Kuechly thing is just bizarre to me. Because says it's never going to be a Prince. But let's be ready. They're definitely going Papa Country next year. I was having that conversation with somebody online. I said the same thing. I think next year will definitely be country. If you really think about it, country has kind of taken over for the last 3 years, three to 4 years. All you got to do is go look at the charts, go look at the record sales. Country music is very significant. Rap hasn't gone anywhere, but country music, you got to go look at just this week. Morgan Wallen, brand new song, debuts at number 2. I mean, he's everything he does pretty much jumps to the top of the charts. So that's pretty, that's pretty decent. I was trying to get, I know I kept going back to it. I really did want to hear what everybody was thinking about the Kendrick Lamar. And just on a scale of 1 to 10, all you got to do is put the number if you want to put it in. Just tell me what y'all thought about this show if you saw it. Or if you didn't see it, say I didn't see it. And did you think I went letter grade, but I say 1 to 10 now. 10 being the best. What did you think about the show yesterday? I just think from me, I give it a 6. And that's not hating. I give it a 6. I like Kendrick. I give it a solid 6 to me. And call it what you want to. But Millie Mills says 2. Yeah, I mean, he said it was weak to me. Weak. And again, that's his opinion. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Everybody doesn't have to be in love with Kendrick. And just because you're not in love with Kendrick doesn't mean you're less in tune with things than not. But, Demetri says the only country music I like and listen to is Morgan Wallen. And Morgan, I'm trying to tell y'all, Morgan Wallen is a bad boy. He really is. Danny Johnson, what's going on, man? How you doing, brother? He says, Chris Stapleton, my guy, I love that. Let me tell you something. And that's somebody that I absolutely love, me some Chris Stapleton. And you would have said it about 2 years ago, and still, he's still a big time. I mean, he is absolutely a country headliner. But a lot of times it seems like now they try to get maybe the hot artists. And I think Morgan Wallen, unless they do like a country-esque show, almost kind of like what Dre did when he brought everybody together. For the LA show. Hell Rail says 7. He gives Kendrick show a 7. Demetrius on that, when he says, I thought it was okay, and I'm a Kendrick fan. I'm glad that you said that, because if you're a Kendrick fan, at open table, I'm a Stevie Wonder fan. It's not too much that I'm going to say that's going to disparage Stevie Wonder. I'll say this. I realize Stevie Wonder is an older cat now and might not hold what we all did maybe in the 80s and 90s, but I think most of what Stevie does is great. I'm going to have a different opinion about that. Perfect example, when Stevie was on the Grammys the other day and he did We Are the World. I was like, that's my guy. And I'm confident enough to say, Dexter Owens, man. What's going on, Dexter? How you doing, buddy? He said, I think it was a great political outlook. Believe me, it wasn't about the music, and it was about this mess that this president is taking us through. Don't want to talk politics, but that's what it was. And your key word in there is when you say, I don't think anybody is trying to ignore politics. But I will say this. The majority of the free world that came in between 6:40 and 10:50 or whenever the game came in, quite honestly, a lot of them were probably like, I kind of do want to be entertained. And I get the political message of it. I'm not trying to knock that off. It's all good. It's all good. When John Carlos and the guys raised their fists at the Olympics, which is supposed to be entertaining and sports and stuff. Yeah, it does transcend. I get it has historic and things of that nature. Nobody's taking anything away from that. But I do feel like with Kendrick, I think what bothered me the most for those who try to go to that angle is that if I have to go watch something, now don't get me wrong, the very overt thing, Uncle Sam in uniform, not that dumb. But I kept seeing little videos. See, this is what you missed. This is an Easter egg, and you should have seen this, and this little part right here, and this is what it means right here. If I have to go through all of that to get what the point is, then obviously it's lost on me. Not lost on me as being culturally aware of what's going on in the United States, but it's lost on me that maybe he just didn't resonate with me. That doesn't make me a horrible person. That doesn't make anybody who says, I really just didn't get into it. That doesn't make you a bad person for not getting it or not liking it. And I'm not saying you saying that, Dexter. I'm just saying that's been the prevailing thought. And here's the other thing. that I'll just have to be honest with you. I'm halfway between supposed to be, according to, I guess, my younger generation, I'm supposed to be somewhere in between making Kendrick Lamar this political voice for the people while he's still calling another fellow rapper a pedophile on TV. I know he didn't say the word, but y'all know the song. And it's one of those things where I'm supposed to cut my mind in half and see Serena Crip walking and see his other ex in SZA up there, and I'm supposed to separate all that entertainment and then supposed to get the symbolism of the red, white, and blue. No crap. That was what they were talking about. I guess I'm just saying I got what they may have been trying to do, but for me, it just didn't resonate as a great overall performance. Because guess what? We can dress up the words and say it wasn't about this. It was supposed to be about something serious with the president. Well, then say it then. I was telling my wife this story the other day. As crazy as we talk about Kanye West, Kanye West at least came out and said George Bush hates black people. I didn't say that was true, but at least that's his truth. No guessing, no Easter eggs, no nothing. Kanye West just said, oh, he hates black people. So at the same time, I get it, but still didn't think it was that good. Christy Lewis, what's going on, Christy? She's at a 9 for me, but the political highlights that most folks miss. Again, I don't even think people missed everything. And then it is probably not going to be. I'm trying to put this in a way that doesn't seem like I'm dismissing what people are saying, because I get it. If you missed it, that's fine. If I had to rewind and say, oh yeah, because what he meant was blah, 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 and I go back and say, oh, okay, that's fine. Still give it a 6. So if I go back and say, oh, he was talking about Trump, I'm going to give it a 9 now. That still doesn't change my thoughts about things. I mean, I just didn't like it. I didn't. You can have the most highly on point message about what's going on right now in 2025 with things that you want to. At the end of the day, stop pretending like this wasn't entertainment. I don't care what he said at the beginning. They brought the wrong person up to do that. No, they didn't, because you were still dancing. You were still jigging. So don't act like you didn't. If your real political stance would have been not to do it. So please miss me, everybody, with, and not you, Christy. I'm not being personal with you. I'm just saying, but a lot of folks with, it was relevant, and he wasn't there to entertain. Yes, he was. If he was rapping and he was dancing, he was entertaining. He didn't get on there and tell a speech. He got on there and sang his hits. He got on there and performed. So it was entertainment. I don't know how you can put it in another bubble. Brigitte says 7 coming the year after Usher roller skate on the ring with a band and dancing is going to be hard to beat. Yeah. And again, I know there were people that dogged out Usher last year. So, and the same thing is, I'll go out. I'll buy a Kendrick song tomorrow. Chuck says, watch the breakdown in the Shade Room. The Kendrick show had a lot of social significance. It did. Nobody's saying it didn't. That still doesn't make it a great show. I don't care if the man came out and said every point that was the best in the world. That still doesn't mean it wasn't a good performance. That doesn't quantify me saying because he said a message that's relevant in 2025, that doesn't mean it was a great performance. Bob Dylan talked about all kinds of political stuff back in the 60s and early 70s, and he couldn't sing to save his life. I'll still give him a 6 or 7 on his performances. That doesn't mean that the political significance of things gets watched over. It just means he was there at the Super Bowl to perform and entertain. And stop with the narrative that he wasn't there to entertain. The little 4'5" guy was dancing around on stage, dancing and rapping, so he was entertaining. Stop it. Stop with that narrative. That is just crazy. Anthony Moss in the house. What's going on, Anthony? He's at 9. Kendrick put on a great show. There are many takeaways from his performance outside of trolling Drake in politics. It's art. And sometimes art doesn't come out as clear-cut and straight to the point like a lot of people would like. I'll prescribe to that more than I'll prescribe to anything else. Maybe his vision. I heard somebody talk about the Squid Games. I don't watch the Squid Games. I don't know what that is. I could care less. And it's not as important to me. But at the same time, if I have to know all of that for a 12-minute performance that's going to get me to the third quarter of the biggest game of the year, then that's just too much. It has nothing to do with social relevance. It has nothing to do with how I feel about what's going on today. But it does have something to feel like, dang, if you had all that to say, well, just say it, brother. Don't be blind. Say it out loud. Say it with your chest. He had a little hidden meaning here. He had a little hidden meaning there. He had a hidden. I mean, come on now. But I get what you're saying, Anthony. That actually makes more sense than a lot. Dexter says Samuel L. Jackson dresses Uncle Sam says it all. I never watched the halftimes till after the game the next day. After what I see people talking about it, Jackson has been a big voice lately about it. Yeah, and I get that. And I mean, that was like the duh moment of the thing, him dressed as Uncle Sam. I got that. And I got the relevance of what it. Yeah, Sam has always been very forward about his thoughts and everything. That's cool. That still doesn't mean that the whole show wasn't that great. SZA lip syncing to me kind of lost me a little bit. And I know sometimes when you do a show like that in a big arena, you kind of lose, the sound and what you can do and everything. But she was so off off from the sound. And obviously when you do things there, and if you look at somebody's mouth and you can tell that they're lip syncing and things like that, to me, I don't know. I mean, it takes away, but I get it. Lisa Shepherd in the house. What's up, Lisa? How you doing? Said at this point in his life, Kanye West is black people too. And I was just using him as a prop. Kanye is out of his mind. But the point was, but one, you're right, and two, but the point was, at least he's free enough in his own Kanye warped mind or whatever he is to at least say what's on his mind and not have to give hidden signals and things like that. I just, DJ says, and we know that Kanye don't be giving a flying duck. See, that's the thing. You're right. It is. It's one of those things where you're kind of like, but he's free enough, man, to say that. but I do argue with people when they try to tell me, but when you tell me Kendrick isn't there to entertain me, then what is he there for? Please don't tell me he was there for 100% for a political statement. Did he mix in imagery? Did he mix in messages? Of course he did. Stevie Wonder could see that himself. I'm not talking about the obvious. I'm just saying to myself, when people try to make it look like, oh no, you didn't see what he was saying. What he was saying was, yeah, but why am I put to the test of making me overthink on? So I'm just trying to understand that part. Why am I made to bend my mind into thinking what Kendrick Lamar's artistic views are? Now, what Anthony said was true about that's his vision. That's fine. But when I keep hearing people, yo, you missed. He wasn't there to entertain you. Then I don't know what he was there for. I saw him dancing. I saw him rapping. Sound like entertainment to me. Chuck says, however, it wasn't like the MJ halftime show. I don't foresee there ever being another one like that. We are too divided as a country. Everyone loved Mike. Yeah, you're right about that, though. You're right about that. I mean, you are 100% right about that. And who knows? I mean, this is a super interesting time right now. And the last thing I wanted to do was be political. And that's usually one of the X's for Uncle Steve's Lounge. I try to think things. And I think I've done a good job because I haven't really said about how I feel about certain things. But I'm just saying, for people who want to make you feel like they feel is hard. I'm guilty of it a lot of times. I'm not telling anybody not to like the show. But when people try to tell me that Kendrick Lamar's show, which had been built up for the last, what they announced this, October, November, that he was going to be the headline, that he was going to be have the show. Nobody said that Kendrick Lamar was not coming to entertain me. He is coming to entertain you. He just decided to do things his way. Like Anthony said, that was his vision. That was his artistic way of expressing himself, which is great. But please don't try to tell people that they aren't as socially relevant as you because you just didn't like it as a whole. It's weird. Lisa says Kendrick's petty though on a PhD level. The necklace he wore was actually an A minor. Let me tell you something. So I'm gonna get to the Drake stuff about it. Now, switching gears. Yeah. Drake, man, it's just gonna be a tough year for Drake, man. How many times can you beat a man down? You bring the X's up on stage. You got the A for the A minor thing going on. You know the little lawsuit is coming out where Drake's trying to sue him for the use of the song or calling the man out of his name. And I mean, man, how many L's can a guy take? And I'm not saying it's over for Drake by far. After all this that happened, y'all, Drake is still the number one hip-hop artist right now in the game. Go look at the numbers. They match up. I think he's supposed to be releasing something pretty soon, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, he took some L's, man. You got in the ring with the wrong person. And maybe, I know he'll probably have some mini comeback that he'll try. But the catchiness of Not Like Us, the lyrical wizardry of that song, and then the overwhelming acceptance of the song as a not even so much from the political standpoint. Like I said, I'm staying away from that. But I'm saying just the overall acceptance of the song and what Mustard did on the production and just making that so accessible and the acceptance from the Grammys, winning all the Grammys that night. Yeah, from if you're Drake, you're kind of like, dang, bro, what I gotta do? this is this man's year. So from that perspective, I mean, I give Kendrick all the I mean, he just beat him down. Sister says MJ showed he could just stand for 5 minutes and the audience lose their mind. Yeah, it is a different thing for MJ. Obviously, that's a universal love for that man. Demetri says, yeah, for all the hype, it was average, and I had been waiting for the halftime performance too. And that I think that's my biggest thing that I was just trying to get back to. When you hype something up that long, and I go back to Dr. Dre when they did. I actually thought the Dr. Dre set was better to me than Usher last year. Usher was good, but the Dre thing, and Dre has the luxury of being kind of more of a producer than he is a rapper, so he could kind of bring all those folks in. But to me, that was more like, oh man, you ain't gonna beat this for a while. I thought that was excellent. To me, some people might think that wasn't good, but yeah, I don't know. DJ said Drake is somewhere punching the air. Was my man Trey and Boys in the Hood. Oh man, said Drake then got rid of the braids and coming out the shows with bullet holes in his vest shirt. He just tries to be too cool and comes off as corny. Yeah. Absolutely right. It says the 2022 Super Bowl performance has replay value big time. And that's one of the things that's really where I was trying to go when I was bringing that up. Not to argue about what it means, what the symbolism means, and why people should take it more seriously and talk about the relevance of it. I think it is one of those things that I was just saying it's okay to not like it too. It's okay. It's okay. If somebody comes out and sings, I know it was perfect. Pharrell Williams came out it's about 11 years ago now? Dang. With Happy. How can you not like a song called Happy? And there were people that didn't like it. Though it was a universal song of just being happy, being loved, being just all the good things in the world. And some people just might say, no, I just don't like it. And that's fine. I think that's my point here. That's my point. Henry in the house. What's going on, brother? Happy Monday. Uncle Steve and Falcon family have a blessed and safe one. Yeah, listen, with the Falcons, folks, we are definitely going to have to get down with the get down in the next couple of weeks because we got to start talking about free agency. We need to start talking about cuts on this team. There are some folks that I really feel like you should probably move away from. I'm looking at, look, it's not personal. If you want to cut some salary, you want to lose some salary, you could find a trade partner for Kyle Pitts somewhere. I'd rather take my chances on getting some draft picks. Kirk Cousins is going to be an interesting case. I know Kirk can control where you actually send him. I really do feel like you can also make some other moves. I love Grady Jarrett, folks. Love him. Thank him for what he's done for this team. There's a lot of me that feels like Are we holding on to Grady Jarrett because of his iconic status for Atlanta, represent Atlanta for the last 10 years, or because he's a really solid, or he's a really good player at this point in his career? I think he's a great hustle, but I don't know. Now, if Grady comes back and wants to talk about redoing some of that contract, I'd keep him in a heartbeat. But right now, is Grady worth the? And I'm trying to look on here real quick. I say real quick. There's nothing else going on at the moment. I'm trying to look at. Hold on, NFL teams. Why is this not coming down? Shoot. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Let's go to Atlanta Falcons. Right quick. I'm gonna look up this and see what y'all have. Yeah, Henry, I see you said Grady is the heart and soul of this team. He is, but we have fallen for the heart and soul thing a long time. The heart and soul right now of our team is making $20 million in 2025. Let me bring it up real quick. This is not about not liking somebody. This is about being realistic about what our situation is. Let me get this a little bigger so people can see. Look at those numbers, man. Right, the salary cap hits right now. Kirk Cousins, $40 million. $40 million. $40 million. Chris Lindstrom, who is all pro, $22 million. Jesse Bates, who's still playing at the highest his game. They're going to ask Chris and Jesse to move some of their bonus money down, I'm sure. Jake Matthews. Jake is somebody that I'm sure they're going to probably ask to move some of their money down the line. Jake plays every game. That's something you can't put a price on. And I know people don't say it, but Jake actually performs pretty well on the judging every week. Grady Jarrett, $20 million, man. David Onyemata, $16 million. I love those guys as players, as people, but let's see. Atlanta Falcons pandemic says, but Grady is producing very well. Am I wrong? Leading by example. Again, nominee for Man of the Year. This isn't about, to me, this isn't about him as a person, him as a leader. This is a matter of maybe we need to get younger on the defensive line. Maybe we need to get a different attitude on the defensive line. I don't know. I know Grady is hardcore. I would love to have Grady on the team. I just do not feel like in today's day right now, is Grady Jarrett worth a $20 million cap hit in 2025? I mean, if you think he is, I mean, more power to you, but I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm asking the question. Henry says, might consider trading Grady to the Rams for Kupp. Would that be interesting? I don't know if I want to pick up Kupp. Kupp's making a lot of money too. I love Kupp, but I think our wide receivers, we might pick up one more, but I like our wide receiver core. I like Mooney and Drake. We probably need one more, but I don't think you bring in somebody who's going to make Kupp money. I think Kupp is his hit right now. I got to see what his base salary is. I'll bring this down in a second and see what his salary cap is. Something to think about. Now, if you want to talk about somebody, Henry, I would trade that for, but they're not going to take it for Myles Garrett. He said, or maybe the people he's surrounded by needs to get better. Maybe so. And this is true. I think him and Onyemata had a decent year a couple of years ago when they right before Grady got hurt. But I'm looking, man. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. And it's a fair question. I'm not saying 100% ship him out of here on the first train rolling, but I am trying to just put that in our mind and say, are we 100% sure that the $20 million at this moment is a good investment for our team, a team that needs a lot of help right now. A lot of help. I'm trying to find I'm trying to see what his uh salary cap hit is right now. So you talking about Grady Jarrett. Uh it's 15 million. So his base salary is $15 million. He has a signing bonus of 4 million, which I'm pretty sure kicks in that March, yeah, fifth day of the no, he has a $1 million signing bonus on the fifth day of 2025. Trying to see. Yeah, so $15 million is his base salary. So I don't know. You intrigued me, Henry, when uh you were talking about Cooper Cup. Let me see what Cooper is doing right now. Cooper Cup, $29 million. So, but more important, let's see what the base is. Cooper Cup in 2026. You know what? That might not be as bad. He has a $12 million base salary. We wouldn't pick up when you make those trades. You don't pick up the signing bonus and all of that. The restructure. You would just pick up the 12. They are absolutely the Rams are getting out of that. 3 years, $70 million. They can go with a $22 million cap. So either he's gonna get traded or they're gonna cut him and they'll take a big hit. But I kind of don't blame them. You got Puka in there right now. They trying to get a little younger. Cooper Cup is 32. So I can understand that. I get it. Henry says Lamb, Ellis, and Yamada are solid pieces with Grady, though. They are. Lamb, I mean, Lamb is kind of fallen back into, kind of average with me. He's solid. Ellis is somebody that I really think the Falcons need to look at possibly with doing something else with his contract because he's really played well for us the last couple of years. And I'm looking at Caden Ellis and by all things looking at, I mean, this is his last year. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't be shocked if the Falcons extend Ellis. I'm trying to pull his numbers up so y'all can see. Caden Ellis this year is due $6 million. That is for what he's done for us the last couple of years. That's an undersell. You can probably extend him to a 2-year, 3-year contract where you can move some of that $6 million down, have him down for like $1 million or $2 million this year. Push the bonus money down. It could be interesting. Henry says if the Falcons get cut, that would fill the void left by Moore. One and done. Yeah. Might ship Pitts out too if he's not careful. Or we can look at Henry real quick. Let's look at what wide receivers are out there currently on the free agent market. Let's see what we got. Let me real quick. Spot Track is what I use for most of my research as far as these contracts are concerned. They're usually pretty good. Let's look at the wide receiver position. Let's look at it together. Okay, I'm gonna put this back up there. Okay, the wide receiver. See if y'all can see that. I'm gonna bring it up just a little bit more. so y'all can see. There we go. All right. So all of these guys are free agents. Stephon Diggs, he's gonna want too much money. T. Higgins is gonna break the bank. So automatically look out of them. Keenan Allen is somebody who's very intriguing. He's not gonna be able to command $20 million, but he could be somebody that could be had. Amari Cooper, who had a okay year in Buffalo, is that somebody that they would be looking at to move? Chris Godwin probably isn't going anywhere. He's probably going to stay with Baker Mayfield and company. Brandon Cooks, I have a sneaky suspicion he might stay with Dallas as well. D Hop, I, I think he probably has unfinished business with Kansas City. I could see him staying. But you have some other wide receivers there. Mike Williams didn't work out with Pittsburgh. Robert Woods, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Is he going to try to stay with Kansas City? Darius Slayton. I mean, there are some guys that can be had, which and doesn't include the draft, though. I think if the Falcons draft another wide receiver, especially high in the draft, I think the Atlanta fan base will collectively probably curse all at one time. Here it says T. Higgins could be interested in reunion with Bates. He would, but here's the problem, Henry. Right now, T. Higgins is going to get the highest paid wide receiver contract in the NFL. And that's not even joking. And this is because he is I'm trying to see trying to look at the contracts. Hold on one second. I'm trying to pull it down. This is why it was a good year for it was a good year for the wide receiver position. Got it right here. Here we go. Okay, from the wide receiver standpoint, look at these contracts that I'm putting up here. And T. Higgins is next in line. Justin Jefferson just got paid 100. God, I gotta move that back because you can't see it. Justin Jefferson just got $140 million. Devontae Adams still playing off the string of his contract. He has one more year. CD Lamb 136. So when T. Higgins gets re-signed, they're probably not going to give him Justin numbers, but they're probably going to put him right in between here. And then after that, Jamar Chase is going to be the same way. So look out for that. But yeah, we can't afford T. Higgins this year. We could take that money and get 2 defensive players. DJ say I've been waiting for the Falcons to get T. Higgins for a while, but he's definitely going to want that big time money. And we have to figure some things out as far as trades and contracts. T. Higgins, the talent, I'll take the talent in a heartbeat. But right now, our money is not going to add up. And if you're going to be the Falcons, if you're going to spend some good money, then spend it on one of these stud defensive guys that are coming. I'm trying to pull defense right quick. Put that on here. From a defensive standpoint, you got Khalil Mack. I'm trying to help y'all see. Sorry, y'all. You got Khalil Mack, who probably is going to want to play for a contender, 34 years old. Hassan Reddick, I'm not sure. I don't know where his head is. I don't know whether he had a relationship with Ulbrich or not when he was there. Obviously a Jet. DJ Reed is somebody who's probably going to make big money, but he would be an interesting person that could bring on the other side of AJ in here. Does DeMarcus Lawrence have anything left for him to be like maybe a mentor on the line? I don't know. Or is Dallas going to pay him? Josh Sweat, who for my money was the MVP yesterday, more than Jalen Hurts was. He's going to get a bag, especially for what he did yesterday. DJ Jones, who I don't think is going anywhere for Denver, had a great year. Chase Young, does he re-up with the New Orleans? Chase Young is only 26. He still might have an opportunity to grow and do some things. The brother yesterday that made the horrible penalty for Kansas City, he's a free agent. I think he's going to be there, but I don't know. DJ says, I'm curious to see what we could get if we traded Kyle Pitts, some other players, and maybe a pick or two. Yeah, Kyle Pitts is going to be trust me, people are going to ask about Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is only $10 million off the salary cap this year. So that's an easy way to get rid of money, but you might as well wait for the highest bidder when it comes to him. I don't think Atlanta's extending him next year. So if you listen to that exit interview with Terry Fontenot, he basically told you with his voice inflection that they're not bringing him in. DJ says, I'll pass on Reddit because he's going to want to sit out and not play. Here's the only thing, though. He sat out a whole season, so he wasn't getting paid anyway. So I think he's ready to get paid this year, and at least he has control of where he's going. So wherever he should be relatively healthy too. That's a good thing. Henry said unload Pitts and Jarrett to help get Higgins or trade both Pitts and Jarrett for Garrett. Would those be help? I would like the idea of Pitts and Jarrett for Garrett, but I'm not sure. In Pitts, you would be getting a expiring contract, but they already has the tight end in Cleveland. I don't know if they want to pay for both of those guys. Even if for only one season, you'll lose that. Jarrett has one more year in 26 at a big cost, but they probably wouldn't take as much of a hit if they cut him because most of his bonus money would be caught up with Atlanta. It's a lot of different moves, man. We got a lot of things to look forward to going into the year. Hey, listen, I stayed on here longer than I thought I would, but I love talking Falcons. I love talking entertainment. I love talking to you all. We appreciate y'all joining us here on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Again, before y'all leave, please hit the like button for me. Tell your friends, anybody who hasn't heard of the channel, spread it news. Let them know that we're here. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, Uncle Steve's Lounge, check us out. We're going to be here definitely every Monday for the Monday Minutia, barring anything weird. And then throughout the year, we're going to just pop in, do our thing. We'll still talk Hawks. Congratulations, Trey Young, for making the All-Star team. We'll talk Braves when they get ready to start. Hopefully they can get back to their truly winning ways with a lot of people coming back from injury. And then more Falcon talk all year long until we start the 2025 season. I am your Uncle Steve. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Minutia. Everyone have a beautiful night, and we'll catch y'all on the other side.
You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's